What is going on? What is going on with the Phillies right now? I don't even know what is going on with the Phillies, but I don't know. I am very, very frustrated, and we need to address it. We need to talk about this dumpster fire that has just continuously been brewing in South Philly and with Dave Dombrowski and this organization. It's not going to work for me. It's not going to work for this fans. It's not going to work in this league for the players. Nothing's working. We need to talk about it. Enough is enough. Once again, apparently this team is running it back, although claims from Rob Thompson, claims from Dave Dombrowski claim otherwise, that we are not running it back. This is a new team, blah, 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 blah. I'm not here for it. I don't want to hear this. I don't care. I don't care what they have to say. This is the exact, pretty much an identical team, if not a worse team that stepped off the field in Los Angeles last year. The Phillies have just somehow gotten progressively worse. I've never seen a team go to the World Series when, one, they were not supposed to. It was just a complete Cinderella story, whatever the hell you want to call it. I've not seen a team do that and then somehow manage to get progressively worse. And somehow it still seems like we're facing that hangover from whatever the hell happened in the end of 2022. Like, you could probably go down the list of like the most important things that have happened since 2022, and you won't believe the shit that has happened. And the Phillies still can't figure things out. The window has closed. In my opinion, it's already closed. It's hard to buy in with this team this year. There's a lot to talk about, right? You just go down the roster. Trey Turner, Schwarber, Harper, the top three guys, right? You look at their age. They're all 32 and over. This is a old head team, as you could call it. Justin Crawford being the young lone star who they're hoping never even stepped up to the plate in a major league game, never even played an out, somehow is going to come in and be the everyday center fielder, apparently. Like, you signed Dolis Garcia. It just doesn't make sense, right? This is just not a good team. It's not the same team we've known, right? It just doesn't make any sense to me, and I can't buy in. I truthfully just can't buy in. I can't buy into any of this shit, any of this stuff they're putting down. It's hard to buy into it, right? You look at the pitching staff. That too also gotten worse. That was our most dominant thing. Yes, we signed Brad Keller, but you don't know how well Zach Wheeler is going to respond to that injury. You don't know how well they're going to be able to come back. You don't know if Taijuan Walker and Aaron Nola are ready to be those everyday guys. Like, Aaron Nola looked like a shit show last year, and we're throwing him a shit ton of money. You need to dial in, and this team needs to figure things out because they haven't at all. They really, truly haven't once this entire past few years, and it just feels like it's just a ripple effect across Philly sports. You could argue, like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. It's just a ripple effect, right? And I think it really, truly goes all the way back to even the end of 2024 when this team got absolutely laughed at by the Mets in a 3-game series. And ever since then, it just hasn't looked like this team knows what they're doing and knows what's going on, right? And you look at that lineup and you just don't know how you can really support it much longer. It just doesn't really feel right. And again, like I said, it all starts with the man above and Dave Dombrowski. Obviously, the Bo Bichette dilemma. For 2 weeks, we didn't hear anything surrounding the organization. All we heard was good news. Bo Bichette, Don Mattingly came in. Look, Don Mattingly came in. They said, oh, yeah, all right, they signed January 5th. Let's just look at the timeline, right? January 5th, Don Mattingly announced as the new bench coach. That's something they said in that end-of-season press conference. We're going to add a bench coach. Okay, I'm okay with that, right? Oh, but guess what? This fluctuates now to a ongoing PR, whatever the hell, whoever can get news out, all for clicks, right? Okay, Don Mattingly has good ties with Bo Bichette. Now, January 5th, Bo Bichette signs, I think, January 18th? That's a 2-week debacle. So, all the animosity surrounding, like Bo Bichette, the meeting went well. A Zoom call went well. Things have gone well. The talk is real. The Phillies are going to make a play here. Then we hear all this stuff that Bo Bichette, for some reason, is going to sign with the Mets. He signs with the Mets for a shit ton of money. $42 million AAV. We couldn't even make an effort to match that, obviously, because we knew with that wasn't going to work out. But then you know that, and then it just turns into an ongoing ripple effect, the domino effect, as you want to call it, right? And here you have this is who the Phillies signed this offseason, right? Obviously, that Schwarber was unreplaceable. No matter how old he is, he's a DH. He could probably play for that whole 5-year contract, probably still hit 25, 30 home runs by the end of it, and still probably be the best hitter on this team, power-wise, maybe not average-wise, but that's what it could turn into, right? But it's just a ongoing ripple effect. Brad Keller was a good signing. You look at those numbers, that was something I loved, right? What he had 2.98 ERA against left-handed batters. I think he held him to like a 1.47 batting average, something crazy. But then you had the ripple effect of JT Realmuto because it never really felt like JT wasn't gonna be coming back, right? We had the talk for the Bo Bichette talk for those 2 weeks. It was like, oh, Ryan Jeffers from Minnesota, all these guys, all these rumors, and none of it ever was true. We knew it wasn't going to be true, right? So now we're back to ground zero of what seemingly was going to be the missing piece in Bo Bichette. What was going to be that guy that's going to glue this lineup together. Alec Bohm is not going to be our 4-hole hitter anymore. He can probably produce way more batting 5 or 6 or something else. You let other guys get a chance to move down to the bottom of the lineup. We just it just doesn't make any sense to me. And not to mention, I don't want to, put the spotlight on the Mets, but not to mention the Mets have made a complete, what looks like, 2 weeks ago, what looked like their lineup was looking like, I'm like, all right, yeah, we don't even have to worry about them this year. Now you look at the stuff they've done, obviously Bo Bichette being the main addition, but it's not like they haven't, signed good players like Lou Weaver, Devin Williams, Luis Garcia. These are known relief guys that are going to be able to make a play in the long run. And Richard Lovelady, they have the depth. Jorge Polanco is going to fill a lot of needs for them because he can truthfully play wherever they want him to. He had a phenomenal year in Seattle. Then you get Bo Bichette. The infield's looking very good. Not to mention, they just traded for Luis Robert, who was rumored to go to the Phillies for the longest time ever. That is a good response by Steve Cohen. You're going to miss out on Kyle Tucker. Let me go get two, 3 other guys that I know can be plug-and-play immediate replacements. And that is something that Dave Dombrowski has never been able to do in his time here. He's never been able to do it once. He hasn't. It's not like he's going to figure it out. Not to mention, they don't give opt-outs in the contract, so you're not even approaching the players to the aspect that other teams are approaching them to. You're not even making it worthwhile their time. All this hype around Bo Bichette, but you're not even giving him an opt-out. A player's obviously going to be way drawn elsewhere if he's going to get $42 million AAV. I'm not saying that this whole Bo Bichette issue is on Dave Dombrowski in the front office. I think they probably did everything in their power that they were going to do and they wanted to do, but it's not like it just doesn't make much sense to me because you can't really necessarily be okay with what's going on. Now, I'm not going to say, Bo Bichette apparently in his press conference a few hours ago, he claims, yeah, it was always going to be blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I always wanted to be a Met. Yeah, it seemed like this team knows what they're doing and how to win, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you could say he has to say all that shit, whatever it is. You can say whatever the hell you want to say about it. But, you don't give opt-outs in your contracts. You're not at an approachable point. This is not a persuasion. Howie Roseman, he always gets the contracts done with his guys. I'm not going to say, okay, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to, be over-exaggerant and not realistic. But it just never really seems like the Phillies can ever make things happen. Now, I'll say, it's not like we've had awful signings in the past. Obviously, the Trey Turner scenario. It seems like every year they bring in 1 or 2 experimental guys in the offseason. But I think we need to kind of shift away from that. And I think we really need to get the main focus going here. You need to figure out what your key things are going to be. You need to take accountability. I'm tired of them saying we're happy with what we are. We think we have a good club, whatever. And that, that cream cheese, lox and cream cheese, look on his face. I just can't do it anymore. You have to take accountability or you have to make something happen. If you take accountability and you say, yeah, maybe this, he said, yeah, this hurts. But at the same time, you can see it says, I did think we were going to get a deal done. We were close. It was a gut punch. But again, then you say we're content with where we are. But obviously, if you're trying to make a play for Bo Bichette and you're trying to improve your roster, you know that you have some weak points on your team. But guess what? Dave Dombrowski can't take accountability, and that's probably the biggest issue surrounding this team aside from the lineup. But it starts with him. It starts with him Rob Thompson obviously really supports Dombrowski because it seems like their beliefs are spot on, neck and neck with each other. So honestly, I don't think we can really do much to save this team. I don't think the players even really have a say at this point. I don't think if Bryce Harper or Kyle Schwarber stepped into Dave Dombrowski's office today and said, I don't like what's going on with this team. I think we need some other pieces. You got to make something happen. I don't think it would matter. I think this is just such a one-sided delusional mess for the Phillies that's really hard to fix. I don't even think a guy, like you look at the available free agents left, there's not anyone for them. There's not going to be anyone for them. It just doesn't make any sense, right? It doesn't make any sense. I don't think that there is kind of a solution for this team. I don't think there will be a solution for this team, right? I mean, let's just look right now. You see the guys that are gone. Dellinger signed today for 5 years, 32.5 AAV. Now, it's not like we knew that, like, okay, like we have a chance at some of these other guys. Now, apparently, Framber Valdez is rumored to come to us, blah, blah, blah. I don't even care what they say anymore. I don't believe to any of it. I can't buy into this team like I used to. I've never seen such a bad hangover that hasn't been fixed. It's just a clusterfuck, and it's just never going to really get any better than that, in my opinion. So you look at the guys that are available. Eugenio Suarez, again, they like Alec Boehm. That's not going to be. Harrison Bader's the only name like we haven't heard in a long time. Like maybe there's some steam behind the scenes with that, but again, we don't have the money. You're gonna like we truthfully don't have the money when you go ahead and throw 3 years, $45 million at a 35-year-old catcher who's going to be 35 on opening day. It doesn't make any sense at all, and you can't defend it in the slightest. It just doesn't make any sense, and it's not going to make sense. Right. So we don't even really have the money, to figure that out anymore. So now it's just truthfully, it's just a giant mess. And, it's just a giant hangover, right? You look at the batting stats, none of these guys are even playing a full 162 games besides Kyle Schwarber. Trey Turner obviously got hurt a little bit. It's not like he's hitting 25 homers and also still getting a 304 average. Bader was a good guy when he played 50 games for us, 305 batting average. But again, it's just a giant hangover that just doesn't really feel like it's getting any better. And it's an aging team. It's a delusional front office, and there's just no other answer. Truthfully, there's no other answer. You lose out on Ranger Suarez too. It just doesn't look. Let's look at the depth chart. Like, it just doesn't look like a better team at all. I don't really know how I feel. Like, defensively wise, Stott, he's a good defender. Bohm, like, I'm not worried about that. But that's not even what teams worry about. I'm more worried about this team and this roster. Like, Crawford's probably, they said he's going to be their everyday center fielder. Castellanos probably won't play a ton of games either. But that's a heavy, contract that we all thought was going to be moved on from. So it's just pure disappointment. And I don't truthfully know what the answer really is, and I don't really know if there is really an answer. But like I said, there's just a giant mess here, and it seems like it's just too big of a mess to really fix. Like, there's all this talk, is this a salvageable season for the Phillies, or salvageable offseason? And at the end of the day, right, you still have probably a top 5 roster in the NL, maybe top 10 roster in the MLB. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say this team is bad, but we just know this team is not. It's not a team that's going to be able to, finally get over that hump and take us to the promised land and take us to that World Series like the 2022 team was. I mean, look, all I'm going to say is the Phillies they move in the dark. I'll say Dave Dombrowski makes moves behind people's backs. He could be working the phones right now trying to get a trade going. I don't know what it's going to take. But what I do know is it's a shit show. And we know that. I'm not going to repeat it again. I also think it's worth noting, are those, I'm not going to say like the ripple effect of some of the contracts we made the last few seasons is and the moves we made, like that Logan O'Hoppe trade in 2022. Like, is Brandon Marsh worth it? Like, imagine if we had Logan O'Hoppe now. That's a very young catcher. Like, even that, replacing O'Hoppe for El Muto, it makes me feel better about this team. I'm not going to say JT is a bad player, but he's 35 years old. He's not producing the way he was producing. I don't know. What's it going to be? Let me know your thoughts in the in the comment section below. I'm at a loss for words with this team. I think that there's, a small chance we can make a run for it, but with this roster, it just doesn't seem likely. It's a worse team. Who knows? All right, we've somehow gotten worse with the better team. Are we going to get better with the worst team? I don't know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Something needs to change. Let me know your comments and your thoughts in the comments below. Leave a like, subscribe if you guys are new. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.